Hi there. You're listening to Hypercast, an ADHD podcast. I'm Melissa, an ADHD coach and advocate.
Hi, I'm Brianna, an ADHD coach and soon-to-be therapist. We are here to explore all things ADHD, from unexpected challenges to unique strengths.
Join us as we share insights and strategies that empower you to live your best ADHD life.
Ready? Let's dive into today's episode.
The podcast was supposed to come out on Wednesday, and I had a family emergency and couldn't get it out till Friday. I don't know. Sometimes I think I just don't give myself space to be human. I'm like, oh, well, other people are relying on me, but when do I get to be human? When do I get to falter?
Welcome to Hypercast.
Welcome to Hypercast. Today, we're going to talk about expectations.
There are a lot of expectations placed on individuals by society, but also by ourselves. And us with ADHD are particularly susceptible to those societal expectations. It is nearly impossible to set realistic expectations, especially in a society governed by neurotypicals, where their expectations and societal rules don't necessarily match our brain chemistry. So talking about this hopefully brings to light the situations where you can adapt. Melissa, you had an example that you wanted to dive into today.
It's really fun. I'm using fun in quotation marks here. It's really fun having a podcast about ADHD and having ADHD. There's a lot of things that go on behind the scenes, and it takes work and effort to get from recording to actually publishing an episode. This week, the podcast was supposed to come out on Wednesday, and I had a family emergency and couldn't get it out till Friday. And I don't know. Sometimes I think I just don't give myself space to be human. I'm like, oh, well, other people are relying on me, but when do I get to be human? When do I get to falter?
So you had this expectation where the podcast is released on Wednesday and it needs to be out by this time, and you set that yourself. And when you didn't meet that deadline, how did you feel? Sorry, that's a very therapy question. How did you feel when you missed that deadline?
I felt horrible. It didn't matter how much I had completed up to that point. I just felt like nothing was done. And I felt like the all or nothing was really coming into play. And there's that part of you that's like, well, we might as well just give up the entire project, right?
Don't give up on the entire project.
Podcast done. I'm 2 days late. We must just stop.
I 100% understand that feeling. That definitely plagued my childhood. If I missed something or a deadline or something was not right, I just gave up on the whole thing because it was too painful to persevere through failing expectations. I think it's that rejection sensitivity piece.
I remember being in elementary school doing my homework and being so afraid that I didn't have the answers right or that I didn't do as well as others that I just leave it in my backpack. I would not hand it in at all. That says something about what goes on inside our bodies and our brains when we have ADHD.
Yeah. I mean, something similar, not to the same extreme, because I'm still going to hand in my thesis. But in my brain, even though I have 107 pages of it written, it's still not done. Because it's not done, I have nothing.
You told me the other day that you had a professor say, send to me what you have. And you were like, I have nothing. And
I have nothing.
You have 107 pages.
She wanted me to send in what I had. And I was like, I can't because it's not complete yet. And so it won't, why would you only read bits? No. Maybe this is the perfectionism piece of ADHD. It's I can't hand in something that's incomplete. I have never done a first draft in my life. And I've done a thesis before. When I wrote my first thesis, I wrote one version of it.
But you just made it the perfect version of it.
It was the perfect version. It was very stressful. I will say that I have edited things, but I've never rewritten large chunks of anything.
Yeah.
Because it was perfect the first time. And I can't submit anything that's less than perfect, so there is no need for revision, right? You can't see it until I've already done that step. What you're seeing is the final product.
But how often does the rest of the world see how hard we work to try to reach that level of perfection?
Which is why they're setting expectations for us. You should submit this. You know that thing where it's you should give 100% or 110%?
You mean when we're giving 150%?
No. Literally, we take it literally. So when someone says give 110%, we're giving 110%.
Yes.
Right. We are literally giving more than we have to give and we burn ourselves out. Whereas somehow the neurotypicals got the instruction manual that says, oh, you give like 80% of what they have for their workday, and then they'll reserve some energy for taking care of their like needs, like cooking or cleaning, like taking care of their kids or like doing their hobbies. They don't give 110% ever. And where was that memo? They set expectations that don't match how we interpret them.
Yeah, we're taking what they say at face value and we're being very literal about it.
Which gets us into trouble. We set expectations based on how expectations have been set for us previously. And so we are setting expectations for ourselves that will 100% burn us out.
I had this client who told me that she's taking a course and every week there's reading in the course and then there's an assignment. And
When I learned that you didn't have to do all of the assigned readings,
this is exactly what's happening with this client. So, the client wants to do all the reading, not just do the reading, but absorb all the reading, understand every last nuanced point of the reading. She won't even look at the assignment. And her teacher suggested that she first look at the assignment to know what questions she's supposed to be answering. So that's in her head as she's actually doing the reading.
bless that client for still doing the readings.
She said that to me, and of course, I was like, I understand that impulse. I understand the impulse to want to like do it all perfectly, to get
Mhm.
all the things done. So
There's not enough time in the day. First of all, it takes us extra time to do things.
yeah,
And there's no person alive that can absorb that much information for all of their classes all at the same time. Like, it's not possible. And yet they set these expectations, knowing that people are only going to hit like 50%. They're setting really, really high expectations. We are meeting them and burning ourselves out. And the neurotypicals are coming here and be like, I did my best. And I'm like, stop that.
we're exhausted. We spent 9 hours doing reading. Someone else spent like 1.5, and they move along.
Yeah, absolutely.
Whether it's been a school assignment in the past or hell, like now working on the podcast, it stays with me. The things I didn't do or the things I could have done better stick with me.
Maybe this is why I don't like reread my own work. Right. I don't want to be disillusioned by going back and looking at the old work and seeing what I could have changed or what I could have done differently.
Why does that haunt us?
I think what is happening here is like society has taught us how to set expectations, taught us how to set neurotypical expectations, and not explained what meeting those expectations looks like.
Ooh.
Uh,
What do you mean by that? Like, why do you think that we don't understand or haven't been taught how to meet those expectations?
I think it's because neurotypicals don't even consider that someone might interpret it differently.
Hmm.
When they're setting expectations, like either societal, like expectations at work, whatever, they're not expecting anyone to question those expectations. And I think they're just expecting people to do their best, which is another mantra that we all heard in childhood, just do your best. But my best is so variable. My best on certain days is phenomenal, and my best on other days is below standard. And on those days, it hurts.
What if our interpretation is that we are supposed to be giving a lot of effort, what we believe you expect of us, but that's not really what you want at all? And so we're
Yeah.
wasting our time and energy trying to give you something that may be impossible, just like that reading. Like, it's impossible to know all the things.
But that's the other piece too, is it takes us more energy to do certain tasks.
Mhm.
And those are the tasks that often come with those expectations that set us up for failure when we're setting our own expectations for the rest of our lives. If something takes a neurotypical person an hour and it takes us 2, that is what we come to expect of ourselves. Like, everything should take more time, everything should take more effort.
Yeah.
And when we have those variable days of, today I'm doing great, today I'm not doing great, it's hard to know what your best even is, because on some days it's better than what the neurotypicals can do. And on some
Yes.
days it's worse. It's so hard to know when those days are coming and to like navigate that and to change the expectations, because the expectations aren't as variable as we are.
My problem is that I am constantly judging myself on the person I am when I have those days that I am amazing.
This is the Instagram thing. It's like you only see people's best when they post on social
Yeah.
media. And we are judging ourselves by our best and not by our reality.
Are you saying that we are like mentally curating a version of ourselves and holding ourselves to those standards?
Yeah, it comes from a variety of things. It comes from the working memory issues. We're only going to remember when we've really, really failed or when we've really, really succeeded. And because of the emotion dysregulation, we're going to try to avoid all those negative feelings. And
Mm.
so we're going to work really extra hard until we burn ourselves out. And then it also comes from the rejection sensitivity, the perfectionism, the lack of communication. So like if we've been reprimanded for misunderstanding an instruction, we're going to try twice as hard to cover all of the bases in whatever assignment or expectation we've been given.
How often are we masking so that the world may see us as that best version of us? That may be a rhetorical question, but it's
I think it's a bit of a rhetorical question, but if you have understanding and acceptance, you're more in control of setting those expectations and having a realistic picture of what you're capable of, even through the variability. And so there is less of those negative feelings because there's less shame and there's less blame and there's less guilt with not meeting expectations because we know that some days we can't.
I'm sitting here wondering who has higher expectations of us, society or us?
Ooh, that's a great question. Wish we could poll the audience. Yeah, put in the comments if you think it's self expectations or society's expectations that are higher. I don't know if I know the answer to that one because like society has some pretty unrealistic expectations, especially for women, people of color, minorities, neurodivergent people, right? But I think that when we interpret that and set our expectations for ourselves, we set the bar so high that it's unattainable for anyone. And yet somehow, sometimes we hit it. And then we think that it is possible.
Because we did it once. How often are we trying to give all or nothing?
And so there is no middle for us. We have short-term memory issues. And so we're blocking out like the middle mediocre bits because there's no heightened emotion there. So our memory is like literally not going to retain information in the middle.
Because that's boring.
Yeah, exactly. We're going to maintain information where we felt really great or really bad, not neutral. That's how memories are encoded.
We're talking about memory. What else are we forgetting? Are we forgetting the type of progress that we've made over time? Like you're saying that, hey, I have this thesis, it's 107 pages, but because it's not done, you don't feel like anything's done.
I have no sense of achievement or accomplishment whatsoever. And this is why when I'm with my clients, I'm recommending, okay, I should really use these techniques for myself, and I do.
It's like do what I say and that doesn't do.
I do use them, but it's still hard.
Yes,
Right?
hard.
Like that's the other thing. Even though we both have the understanding and the acceptance piece is pretty much nailed. Good job, us. It's still like it doesn't solve all of the problems. It just makes it easier to be kind to ourselves.
Yeah.
And so I have a win jar where I write down stuff that I've accomplished so I can physically see the accomplishments I've made. Some people keep a journal. There's something called a to-do list where you write down things that you've done rather than things you have to do, which sets you up for success. To-do lists are great.
But what about like our current projects? When I'm in the middle of something, I struggle so hard to understand where I'm at on the journey.
You gotta break it down. If you're in the middle of a project like I am currently, you have to break it down so you can still have achievements throughout. But again, because our brains don't really deal with reward and consequence, they deal with interest, novelty, urgency, and challenge. It's still going to be more difficult, even if we've broken it down and have like, yes, I've achieved this section or I've achieved this chapter or whatever. Like I've written 2 chapters. I only have 1 chapter left. Like that's huge.
Yes.
I've broken it down and write them all down on my to-do list and my win jar and things. And it helps.
I will create false deadlines for myself. If I break it in pieces, the piece has a specific deadline.
Yeah. But like this is the SMART goals technique. They
Mhm.
all work. That's why they're out there on the internet. But remembering to remember to use them is hard.
I utilize so many tools, but there's still times that I'm rebellious against myself or I'm just
Yeah.
the ADHD is strong sometimes.
Even though we have all these tools, even though we have the understanding and acceptance, sometimes the ADHD still wins. Sometimes the expectations are still unrealistic. Like, I tried to finish my thesis before Christmas and I hadn't started. I was like, yeah, I can write it in 2 weeks. That's an unrealistic expectation right there. And then I could have like really beaten myself up about it and been like, I'll never be able to finish my thesis. I'm a failure. I'm going to quit, blah, blah, blah. But because I have this understanding and acceptance piece, it's like, okay, well, that was an unrealistic expectation. That was an unrealistic deadline. Let's try and set a more realistic one. And then, like you said, like you had a family emergency, stuff
Mhm.
comes up,
It
things
does.
happen, and it changes, and we're a little bit inflexible about it.
Yes, that I had a project that I was sure I was gonna start at the beginning of the year, and I still haven't started it yet. I forgot that there were things that I need to put in place before I began the project. All the things we forget that are necessities to put in place.
Let's talk about necessities for a second because I was like, yeah, I have 24 hours in a day. No, you don't. You have to sleep. You have to eat. You have to shower. You have to go outside or exercise or whatever it is, the thing that keeps you sane. Right? You don't have 24 hours in a day. You have like 8.
We often forget about things like prior commitments that we have on our plate. I'll look at my calendar and, well, I have these 5 appointments, and I've got time in between. Well, guess what? You have things that are supposed to be done in between those things and
Yeah.
always forget, and I think it's free time. It's a cycle. I don't know if it will ever end.
The other thing about that is like, even if you set aside time for it, did you set aside time for starting? Did you set aside time for like setting up? It's not
Yeah.
because it takes us longer to get into things, to start projects, to orient ourselves, to get into the flow of things. Sometimes it's really boring, so you don't want to do the task, and you're procrastinating a little bit, and that'll eats up time.
I've been trying to think about my, like, morning routine, realizing how kind of broken it is. One of my coaching mentors once said that it took her a while to understand that she needed 3 hours in the morning before she had anything scheduled, and I was like, "That's ridiculous." But the more I'm looking at it, I'm like, "Oh, I need time to transition between things, and otherwise I feel flustered." I hate the feeling of being unsettled, like, consistently throughout a day. It just it does something to me.
Yeah, I will say I've had like experienced the same thing. It's like I knew that I needed that time, and I started my workday at 10 a.m., which is a luxury of being self-employed. Um, but then I started scheduling appointments at like 7, 8, or 9, and the rest of my day, I felt like I couldn't keep up. Like I was so disorganized.
Mhm.
And so I had set an unrealistic expectation of, well, because I have that free time before 10, like I can add something else there and it won't impact the rest of my day. I have been able to get nothing done in the rest of my day because I didn't have that time in the morning to like orient to the day, to set up, to prepare, to like get my ducks in a row.
You just said that 10 AM is a luxury, but is it a luxury? What are you doing beforehand? You're probably, like, nourishing yourself. You're, like, making sure you're prepared for the day. That is gearing up for the things that you need to do.
Eating, showering, but also like the pre-work that happens before work
That is actual work.
that the neurotypicals don't take as long to do and don't place into their expectations when they're making them because for them it's default and for us it's extra work.
Appointment starting at 7 AM. If I have an appointment that's earlier and it kind of eats into that me time, I end up compromising things that I actually need,
Like your mental health.
like my mental health. Or as you were saying that, like, your energy is gone by the time you get to a certain point.
Yeah. Well, I'm not getting enough sleep is essentially the problem.
Well, that's the other part. Yeah, you're compromising actual, like, actual sleep.
So at 7 a.m., I would normally still be asleep. I'm not one of those morning people. I know they
Not
exist. I know there are ADHDers out there that are morning people. You are the rare breed because scientifically we have a shifted circadian rhythm.
I'm torn. Sometimes I'm very jealous of those people, and sometimes I'm not at all because I love me some night hours.
That's what our bodies were designed to do. If you look back, like historically, we were the night watch. We were because we have all of the traits of, distractibility, but it's like being able to notice when things are moving or there's danger. We should go back to caveman times. That's when we'll thrive.
But I really like my Wi-Fi.
But fire and the wheel.
Exciting. So exciting. But there's times, we may need to have those 7 AM appointments. We have to interact with the normal world.
Doctor's appointments, flights, picking your child up from school, all of that kind of stuff doesn't have a flexible
Yeah.
timeline. And so while I try and make sure that I have a schedule that works for me, there are still times when I cannot set expectations in a neurodivergent way. I still have to maintain like neurotypical expectations because I am still a part of society. And I
Yeah.
wish to be a part of society, but that's not what I want. I want to be a part of society and I want to make my flight connections on time and I want to make my doctor's appointments on time. That's important to me.
I feel like there's 2 types of ADHD people. The types of people who are often late or behind, And there's the types of people that are not just early, but like super early. And that
That's
comes with
the
anxiety.
anxiety.
Yeah.
It's an all or nothing kind of thing, right? Timeliness is difficult for us with our time blindness and time perception issues. There are the people who undercompensate and the people who overcompensate, and both are not good for your mental health. There's a lot of shame and guilt that comes with
Yeah.
being late and a lot of stress and anxiety that comes with being overly on time.
There are strategies that we can use to make it to those vital appointments on time. And you and I have discussed some of those strategies before, things like reverse engineering your day.
This is how you set realistic expectations. We're back there. So if you
Yeah.
reverse engineer your day, you're more able to set realistic expectations because it's based in reality versus, oh, I think it only takes me 5 minutes to get ready. It takes you 20. And you just weren't aware of that.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, every time I go through this reverse engineering process, there's a part of me that's a little depressed because I prove myself wrong. Like, I have in my head that something takes a certain amount of time, and it's so frustrating to, like, to see it on paper. There's now evidence that I am not correct on this.
Well, okay, this comes back to the understanding and acceptance piece because that distress from what you think should, again, you shouldn't should on yourself, what you think should be the expectation, what should be reality, and what reality actually is, that disconnect is what's causing the distress. And if you can accept and understand that reality is okay, like it's okay for things to take longer. It's okay when you reverse engineer a thing that the thing that you thought was going to take 30 minutes actually takes an hour. Like that is okay. It's not broken, it's not wrong, you're not a failure. If you can remove the distress around that, then the setting of realistic neurodivergent expectations becomes easier.
Of course, there are several ways, whatever works for you to deal with your time blindness. I may know that I have an appointment 4 hours, but I may have to write down all the steps I need to do before then. And then I need to set timers.
Timers, visual clocks.
Yep, you've got visual timers, something like this, or
Oh, pretty.
if I didn't wear my watch, I probably would die because my Google Calendar tells me when I'm supposed to be at an appointment.
The smartwatches are a really great solution because it is a visual calendar, timer, everything that you can take with you. It beeps, it alerts you if you lost your phone or misplaced it or it's in your purse, then it is there. Because we are so unaware of reality a lot of the time, if you don't know how long things take you, timing them is a really great strategy to help you set realistic expectations. And so if you're like, oh, I think it takes me 5 minutes to shower, and you have a little watch or a timer, you can time yourself. Oh, it actually takes me 7.5 minutes. It actually takes me 11 minutes.
Yeah.
Because again, the time blindness, we have no idea how to set realistic expectations of how long things will take or how much effort to put in because we don't know how long they'll take or how much effort we need to put in to do it because
And
we don't remember.
every time I, like, try to do that timing thing, a variable will change. Like, it's really cold today, and that will, like, make me apprehensive about getting in the shower.
If you're nerds like us and really love data, spreadsheets are your friend, and then you can cut an average. You're like, oh, in the summer it takes me this long, in the winter it takes me this long, and on Tuesdays it actually takes me longer because that's the day I wash my hair or whatever. Like you could gather all that data, just have statistics about yourself.
I now know what the temperature of the room needs to be for me to get into the shower.
Okay, but brilliant. What a life hack. Because you took the time to notice that something needed to occur to reduce the time it took you to do the task.
Yeah,
It's like I don't actually have this much time to do the task. Okay, well notice what is causing you to spend more time
yeah.
doing the
What's
task.
causing the friction?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then brainstorm solutions for that.
Sometimes there may not be a solution. If something's causing friction, we may be able to remove that step. That is something we don't always consider
Yeah.
because we're supposed to do all the steps.
This is an expectation within an expectation. Oh, we've gone meta. So if you if you don't have the time it takes you to do something and there's a step that causes you friction. So first, noticing the expectations, noticing that there's causing distress because you're not able to meet those expectations, then like figuring out the reality. And then if there is a friction point, noticing, does this actually benefit me? Does this actually need to be done? Is this an expectation that I need to keep in my system? Do I need this to function? Does society need this? To, like, what does this benefit?
Yeah.
Again, back to the understanding and acceptance piece. It's like sometimes you can let things go.
Yeah.
Sometimes it doesn't have to be perfect. What? I know, I said it. Sometimes it doesn't have to be perfect. I'm feeling that in my body viscerally.
Just like a meal, you don't need to spend an hour cooking a meal. Sometimes you can spend 10 minutes making a sandwich and still get fed.
You know that society thing where it's like they shame people for going to the fridge at 3 in the morning and eating directly from a bag of shredded cheese?
Yes.
That is food in your body,
Yes. If
right?
if you're
Like,
actually hungry, eat it. I often come back to food. I think about food a lot.
maybe we're hungry.
I just like food.
But what about community, friendship, relationship
You mean, like,
expectations?
returning text messages?
Yeah, or sending Christmas or birthday cards.
Remembering people's birthdays.
Yeah, that kind of thing, where it's not there's no actually, there are consequences because you lose friends, and that's tough.
I think communication's really important.
Communication is important. But
Yeah,
what are the expectations around communicating? If you're clear in setting your expectations with your friends, there will be less friendship decay if you don't send a text
true.
back. Like, there's some people that I haven't spoken to in months, and I would still consider them to be close friends. And I like, anytime I text them and say, "Hey, like, how's it going?" There would be no hard feelings because I've set the expectations, like, just because I haven't messaged you in 3 months doesn't mean I don't love you.
My mother-in-law, I told her at the start when I first got married, I was like, "I have an inability to return things to people. So if you bring a dish over and leave it here, I'll put it in a safe spot. I'll wash it and I'll put it in a safe spot. Grab it when you come over." What society expects is that I will clean that dish and return it to her, but I likely won't remember, and I know that about myself, and I told her, "It's not because I dislike you. It's not because I'm being discourteous. It's because this is a big block for me. It's a barrier." And
Yeah.
because I had that conversation with her, we've never had friction over it. We've never had a problem about it.
I can't do birthday cards. I can't do Christmas cards. That it's never been an issue in my family, but my partner's family is really big into birthday and Christmas cards.
Okay.
Like, even across the pond, they'll mail them. If I can't drop this off at your house like 6 months late, you're not gonna get it. I'm not gonna remember to go to the post office.
If I can't, like, mail you a gift without going to the post office, it's likely I'm not gonna give you a gift. So I end
Yeah.
up sending, like, gift cards and stuff, which I think some people think those are impersonal. I love getting gift cards.
Gift giving comes with a lot of societal expectations.
Yeah.
I am not particularly good at any of them. Like, I don't return cards, Christmas, birthday, whatever. My gifts tend to be more experiences.
I love that.
One of my love languages is quality time. And so, like, I'd rather spend time with you than get you a knickknack or something that you might not want or would just take up space. Or, like, if it's not consumable, I'm not giving it.
The expectations around what is a good gift is so individual. It's so relative to the person.
So just have the conversation, set those expectations in advance. I've even, like, asked people for lists.
It's a little faux pas to mention the A word, but like Amazon, you can create a gift list, give it to somebody. I have ordered from Amazon and sent to Brianna in a different country, and it is so much cheaper than sending from the post office.
Thanks, Melissa. But yeah, like, again, faux pas of Amazon, but I think that is such a great hack to have, like, gift registries or just things that you want that you would never
Yeah.
buy yourself. Some people are hard to buy for, and some people aren't good at gift giving.
Yeah.
And if you have a combination of those 2 people, having a list is really helpful.
Yeah, and I mean, and even if someone may not like know even what to get you off that list, they at least have a reference for what store you're purchasing from, so they can give you a gift card to a place you'll actually use the gift card for. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah, so this is the second piece of setting expectations here, communication. So, society has expectations. Understanding and accepting yourself means you can rewrite those expectations based on reality, based on how long it actually takes you to do things, based on the effort that actually needs to be put into that.
Like the expectation you have for yourself in these social situations, gift giving per se. If, like me, you can't get to the post office, find outlets for gift giving, like whether it's flowers, something consumable, something like Amazon, where you can send a gift to somebody and you never have to touch the post office. You just have to go to your computer.
My grandmother sends e-cards, and they are
So
so
great.
cute.
Yes.
It's still personal because you get to select a card or whatever, but then there's no post office and there's no what do I do with the cards afterwards? This has just hit me. I have Christmas cards now. I've never had to deal with this before in my life. Like, do I throw them out? Do I keep them forever? Where do you store them? I don't know what to do. The social expectations are killing me because I don't want to be rude, but I also don't want to store these things for the rest of my life. And how long do I display them for? Like, is it the next holiday? Is it 6 months? Is it until they come and visit and see? Do I have to send a card back saying thank you?
I have one medium-sized plastic bin, clear plastic bin. It's not all the cards, but every now and again, it happens like once every other year. I will get a card in my hand that for some reason it has special meaning to me. So I will tuck it away into that box that also has like, family portraits and things like that, keepsake
That
memories.
you forget about as soon as it's gone.
Yes, but sometimes we go through that box, we'll look for a family photo, we're looking for it, and it's fun to go through the box and, like, have these memories. It's just something that screams to me, "Please keep me," not out of obligation, but because it has a special meaning to me.
It hurts my soul.
Otherwise, I shred.
But like, okay, again, I'm off on a tangent now. What do you do about weddings? You build a registry, people buy you stuff, and then you're supposed to send thank you. I'm not sending save the dates. I'm not doing it. I'm sending you an email. Go check out the website.
So, for our wedding, our registry was for our honeymoon, so it was like gifting excursions for our honeymoon, and we got to have an even better honeymoon because of it.
That's really nice. That's such a great idea. On my friend's wedding registry, there was a trash can, and no one bought the trash can. You can't buy a trash can as a gift for someone's wedding. Be like, here, I think you're trash. Like, you can't do that.
That's the funniest thing I've heard all day.
There are certain things that you just, like, as a birthday gift, you don't get, like, your wife a vacuum cleaner
This is
or,
true.
like, a bathroom scale. Even if she's like, "Oh, I really need a new bathroom scale, like, mine is broken." You don't give that to her for her birthday or for Mother's Day. You
This is
don't
true.
like, that sends a very specific message. Yeah, when someone's getting married, you can't buy them a trash can. Yeah, so I think, yeah, like, the excursions is a great idea. So, we've discussed today societal expectations, self-imposed expectations, and community expectations in order to maintain relationships. We've also discussed how to set realistic expectations because we often set ourselves unrealistic expectations. We've also discussed the importance of removing the distress. So the stop shooting on yourself piece.
Yeah.
So the point is for these expectations is for ADHD in particular, there's a lot of factors that influence our ability to do things. Being aware of what those factors are so you can set realistic expectations for yourself, so you can remove the distress and the suffering and the pain from the expectations is going to go a long way to improving your quality of life.
Don't be afraid to let go of things.
Yes.
If you're in need of further ADHD support, you can find me at likemindcoaching.com.
And you can find me at understandingadhd.ca.
Until next time, thanks. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for joining us on this episode of Hypercast.
If you've enjoyed today's episode and want to stay connected, be sure to rate and subscribe. And check out the show notes for links to our social media and websites.
Whether you're seeking practical tips, heartfelt stories, or just a sense of community, Hypercast is here for you.
Remember, you're not alone in your ADHD journey. Together, we can navigate the highs and lows with courage and compassion.
So until next time, take care, stay curious, and keep embracing your unique neurodiversity.
Catch you on the next episode of Hypercast.